If you know me, know this ain't my feng shui. Certified everywhere, ain't got a print a resume. Take off, talk crazy, I pull up underlay. RP to Nate, dog, I had to regulate.
Wait, turn that beat down.
Public service announcement. Why my rent, man? Why? Me go. Bro, nigga, down to the.
Hello, fight fans. George Hanson, the Pope of Pugilism. This afternoon, we have with us Luther Deas Chiles, 2018 Salute to Philly Boxers, Fan of the Year, native Philadelphia. What's happening, Luther? How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. I'm just sitting here relaxing and ready to put down these words on my first Zoom. First time ever.
But Luther, you're a big part of Philly boxing, man. I've been seeing you at the fights for years. The promoters know you. Everybody know you. You and your friend, Fred Rock, childhood friend. You guys always buy tickets, sit in the VIP section, and you know all the fighters, and they know you. So
yeah, man.
2018, you got on the ballot, and by landslide, you won Fan of the Year. You and your friend Fred Rock.
I'm very proud of this right here, brother. You know, very proud. Can you see it? Very proud of this thing right here, man. You know, this was
Dave Wilkes.
Yes.
Salute to Philly boxing.
In the books.
Man, that was an honor seeing you at the banquet, coming up to get your award.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that very much.
Now talk to me, because I first knew, I can't remember, you know, it's one of those things, you just see someone for so long, you don't even remember where you met them or you saw them. I've been seeing you and Fred at fights, God knows how long, man. And you guys come to all the Philly fights. How did you guys get involved in boxing?
Boxing, Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. Me and Fred was in elementary school together. I known Fred back since I was like 5 years old. We lived a block from each other, went to the same school. Me and Fred met fighting each other. That's how we met. You know, and we became friends after the fight we had. As a matter of fact, I actually was fighting his friend, and his friend gave me a kick in the lower, in the southern area, and Fred was just laughing. And I wasn't thinking about the guy that kicked me no more. I was thinking about the guy that was laughing. So, you know, but I'm chasing Fred, you know, well, you know, we wanted to become real good friends. And at the time, I think it was probably around like 71, 72 when Ali and Frazier was fighting. And it was big news, you know, it was like every day was all in the papers and the school teachers talked about it. And you go home and your parents are talking about the fight. So, you know, we became Ali and Frazier. You know, everybody started fantasizing about who was who. So back then we was Ali and Frazier. So we started off, you know, I'm Ali, you Joe Frazier, you know. So that was my introduction to boxing until the 76 Olympics started. And then I just fell in love with boxing.
And how long have you guys been coming to the fights in Philadelphia?
Wow, we go back to the 80s at the Blue Horizon. I would say probably around about 81, 82, 83 area, somewhere around we started going to the Blue Horizon. But we used to go to the wrestling matches at the arena years ago. So we was always going to some kind of combat event. And we used to go to wrestling matches and we used to see the timekeeper now, JP Mina, who does the timekeeping and the bell. He used to be the timekeeper at the arena on 46th and Market when we used to go to WWF back then and see the wrestling. So we started out doing that. And then, you know, we box, you know, we box each other at pals and we box each other on the street because we always had boxing grounds. We was just boxing fanatics.
Man, but to buy 2 tickets to every show in Philadelphia is something, because some months there are probably 3 shows and you guys are at every one of them. This is prior to COVID.
Right, because, you know, we was not really big football, baseball, or basketball fans. We was strictly boxing fans. You know, Fred likes the MMA also. I'm not an MMA guy, but we eat and breathe boxing. I have a garage with about, my wife will tell you, I got a garage with stacks and stacks of boxing magazine going back for years. So, you know, we lived and breathed boxing. You know, I had a couple of brothers that box. My brother, Carl Combs Angelo, my brother Darnell Chiles, rest in peace. He's passed away just a few days ago.
Right, my condolences, man. I was going to mention that and dedicate this video to Darnell.
Absolutely. Dedicate this video to my brother Darnell, man, because he would love to hear that while he was still here too.
Well, he still can hear us, my brother. People don't die; they just move to another room.
I feel you. I feel you on that. But my boxing love, and then not just being a big fan, having access to the fighters in Philly. You know, all these famous fighters in Philly: Joe Frazier, Chen Witherspoon, Buster Drayton, Robert Bam Bam Hines. Greg Tutt was a real good friend of mine.
Oh, King Tut. That was my man. That was my man, King Tut, man.
Art piece. I went to school with Sidney Outlaw. I couldn't understand how this guy became a boxer. And he wasn't the greatest boxer, but he was a tough cookie. You know,
Sidney fought everybody.
He fought everybody. Here's a guy that in the hallways in school, he's getting outboxed by girls slap boxing. So, you know, this was in high school. So years later, I see him at the Bull Rise. I was like, how this guy getting in a fight? But he was a tough cookie.
And I'll tell you this, I worked the corner against Sidney Outlaw when he fought Frank, my good friend Frank the Silk Montgomery. And we had Eddie the Clot Aliano in the corner. And I can say, well, I worked the corner with the Clot at the Bull Rising. So yes, Sidney Outlaw.
Legendary.
If Sidney Outlaw had a really good manager,
yes,
he had the skills to make it.
He was tough, man. He was a tough cookie, man. You know, and it was funny. Frank the Silk Montgomery was a cool cat too. I remember him.
Frank was like a mini version of Tommy Hearns.
Yes. I remember Frank the Silk Montgomery. He was a real cool dude. I worked with his cousin when I worked at the hotel, at the Hilton Hotel back in the 80s. And, you know, I went to a couple of Frank's fights.
Man, but man, I got to give it to you. You guys are at every fight. But not only do you go to the local fights, but you travel with the Philly fighters. Talk to me about that, man. How far have you gone?
The furthest was Las Vegas. Of course, I've been to the Thomas and Mack Center, of course, the MGM Grand. I went to the big fight, you know, the Super Bowl. That was the Super Bowl for me. Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather was the Super Bowl for me.
Right.
I flew my mom, my mother-in-law, and me and my wife also. And we went up there. And while they went to the Michael Jackson hologram show, which I didn't know how expensive it was until I got the bill. I went to the fights and enjoyed the festivities. You know, I met up with Christy Spinks and Corey Spinks, Jay Prince, a lot of cats that was, you know, on the network. I met up with them.
I gotta buy. I'm glad you mentioned Jay Prince, man. I gotta buy his book and read it.
Most definitely.
I definitely gotta read it.
Yes. I admire that guy, man. The guy's real, very intelligent.
Well, you know, if you can be a basketball player and your chain gets snatched in Houston and you tell Jay Prince, and in a couple of hours, your chain is back around your neck, shout out to Jay Prince.
Yeah, I saw that interview, man. You know, I saw the interview. And that guy, you see his property, and the guy is he's just so intelligent, man.
He owns an island, man.
I saw that. I saw the island. I remember one guy saying he had an interview, and Prince invited him over to, it was Irv Gotti, one of the guys. He said that, whatever you do, don't let him invite him to his island. He said, when he got that call, he said, come on over to the island.
You know, there's a guy, Jahai Tucker, young Jamaican fighter out in New York.
Right.
We interviewed him. Jay Prince is his manager. And I said, Jahai, make sure there's a Jamaican flag on the island.
Right.
That's all.
This is up.
But let's talk about some of your favorite fighters, man. You know, Tommy Hearns, my number one, the fighter that I idolized as a kid in the boxing gym trying to imitate Anthony Two Guns Fletcher. I thought he was Jesus in boxing gloves and he could walk on water.
Anthony.
Who are some of the fighters from Philly that you really, really admired?
You know, skill-wise.
Yes.
And let me tell you something, man. Just because of the stuff he did, I got to give it to Bernard Hopkins, man. Bernard Hopkins was just a phenomenal, very intelligent fighter. You know, I admired his hard work because he stayed in shape, and he just was so rounded and creative on the go. You know, and he's up there, man, as one of my top favorite fighters of all time. Bernard Hopkins just put his thing down. I respect Bernard Hopkins. One of my guys that I appreciated his come from nowhere is Freddie Pendleton. Freddie
Oh,
Pendleton.
you know that's my man.
Yeah, man.
Fearless Freddie.
Freddie. He trained with my brother and Stanley Ross. Stanley Ross, they trained at the Yorktown Boys Club right in Borden area.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother, Carl Angelo, and Stanley Ross, Jinx, we know them as Jinx around the neighborhood. And Freddie Pendleton, they all trained together. When my brother come home with black eyes and, you know, and him and Freddie Pendleton just getting it up. My brother was a welterweight at the time. And Freddie was obviously a lightweight. And they used to spar with Stanley Ross, who was a cruiserweight. And, you know.
I tell you that I have numerous Freddie Pendleton stories.
Yeah.
Because Yorkside used to have these club shows.
In the basement?
Yes.
Yorktown, the Boys Club?
Yeah, Yorkside Boys Club. They used to have club shows in the basement.
Right.
Freddie and I fought 3 weeks in a row for a bag.
Wow.
I'm telling you, when I saw Freddie, he doesn't call me, you know, everybody call me Chicken George. That's my fight name. Freddie never called me that. He called me Super Chicken.
That sounds like him.
Great guy, man. Great guy.
Yes, he is. Yes,
we had the Urban League of Philadelphia Centennial Celebration in 2017, April 29th at the Leocore Center. We honored all the Philly current world champions.
Right.
Freddie flew in from Florida. As soon as we were getting up in the ring, he made it from the airport. And I said, Freddie, you made it just in time, man.
Wow. I miss that. Because I haven't seen Fred since the last time I seen him. It was a fight in Atlantic City. I think he was fighting Livingston Bramble.
Yes.
And that was the last time I saw him in person. And over the years, I haven't seen him until Facebook.
Yeah, I spoke to him last year. You know, I give him a call. But great person, man.
Yes,
and if Freddie had a manager early,
right,
ridiculous skills.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know,
ridiculous. And he was big for a lightweight.
Yeah, he was strong. He was a big lightweight. I didn't realize it at the time, but Freddie was a big lightweight. You know, and he loved his fights. When he won the championship, I watched when he grew. We won the championship and he grew with it because he had a few title defenses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Jorge Paez. I can't think of the other fights he had before he eventually lost the title to Ruelas, but I thought he was going to be able to beat Ruelas, but he didn't win. But, you know, I didn't realize, you know, he went on and fought Felix Trinidad later on.
Yes, he did.
Ricky Hatton.
Yep.
So he made some money at the end, and I was happy for him.
Yeah, great guy, man. One of the most amazing fighters that I saw growing up, and he just got out, Anthony Two Guns Fletcher.
Awesome time.
Luther, what he could do in the gym and what he could do in the ring, probably the most knowledgeable person I've ever met in my entire life on breaking down fights and styles.
Right.
He can tell you how you can beat someone.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. Last time I seen him, I was working in 3 Penn Center right before I started working with Scepter. I came to Scepter April 1990, so it was probably around either December of '89. He was doing he was working with these people that was laying down carpet inside this 3 Penn Center building. That was the last time I seen him. But he was a phenomenal fighter.
He's back, Frank, man.
Frank was my boy. I love Frank the Animal Fletcher.
Oh my God! Don't get me started, man. Yeah. I can tell a million Frank the Animal Fletcher stories because growing up, they lived on 46 and Woodland. We all trained at Southwest Youth Center. So you can call me an honorary Fletcher because I hung out with them. I went to their grandmom's house on Sundays for dinner. So I could walk anywhere because I knew the Fletchers. You get my point?
Right.
And somehow Frank liked me. I guess he liked Jamaicans. Yeah. But that was my man, Frank the Animal Fletcher.
I loved his fights, man. He had a lot of energy, you know. Even when he lost, you know, Frank was never in a bad fight. You know, in today's time, you know, Frank was a star on it was NBC and
God, he brought boxing back on NBC.
Absolutely, yeah.
Frank and Miss Lucille.
Absolutely, she was a legend. She's a legend, man. Is she still alive?
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow, she was a legend now. She had that legendary night. She jumped on the ring with that shoe and
Yes.
but yeah.
I tell you, man, just I feel like Forrest Gump, just being able to meet the Fletchers, literally growing up with them,
right,
being in the gym, going to their house on Sundays. I mean, Anthony Fletcher used to just take time out for me just to show me a different move. I saw him do the shuffle and I go, how did you do that? And he just take the time. Yeah, and you know their brother 40.
40, this is my buddy. That's my man.
I was a little guy, small with 40. 40 would beat the crap out of all of us little guys.
Yes.
I shouldn't say little guys. We were his size. But he was so skilled, man. 40 beat us up, then put us in the mirror and tell us what we did wrong.
Yeah, I remember when he won the Pennsylvania Bantamweight title. I think he was fighting Francis Chiles.
No. Brian Boogaloo Jones.
Brian Boogaloo Jones, exactly. That's right. Yes.
Oh my God, that was like, how can I put it? That was like Benitez versus Leonard. Probably one of the greatest fights in the legend of Blue Horizon.
And I tell you why that was such a great fight. Brian Boogaloo Jones.
It was sold out.
Yes, I was there. Brian Boogaloo Jones and Andre Sharp Richardson was coming up. Butterball.
Yes.
And they was packing that Blue Horizon, and they was having those fights were fantastic. I was surprised because I didn't know much about 40 at the time. I was surprised how easily he handled Boogaloo, because Boogaloo was a fantastic boxer, fast hands, very smart in the ring. Speed, yes. And that's what opened my eyes about 40. I was like, man, this guy, I thought he was going to want to be in the world champion.
Yeah, 40. But all the Fletchers can fight.
Oh yeah, we know that.
All of them.
Yeah, they definitely can fight.
The entire family.
Yes. And that's another thing. I always like the group of families, since I had a lot of brothers, and we fought each other more than we fought anybody out on the street. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, when Anthony would come on my block and he would just say hi to me or talk to me, right? People were like, you know Anthony Fletcher? Like, yes. You get my point. It was a huge thing. You growing up as a teenager, and Anthony Fletcher comes around the neighborhood and he knows you by name. We trained in the same gym. It was a huge thing, man.
Well, that brother had an ice cold stare too, man.
Yes.
He had an ice cold stare, because I was like, yo, this guy, you know what I mean? And only one ever intimidated me was the boy that he wound up down on a motorcycle. I went to a gym, and he just had this aura about him. Andre Prophet.
Oh, the Prophet. The
Prophet. I was in the gym with him just walking. I was a big fan. I love going to the gym and trains, but I really enjoyed watching guys train. And I went to the gym and I got up close because I had seen him fight at the Blue Horizon. And his aura, I'm like, man, you could feel the energy coming from this guy.
He would have been cruiserweight champ.
He would have been a cruiserweight champion.
Talented, man. Very talented.
Been cruiserweight champion. Man.
Let's move forward now. The fights you want to see.
Right now?
Let's start with the big boys.
Right now, I would like to see Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder need to fight again.
Okay.
They need to fight again. I think a lot of people are down on Wilder, but I'm not giving up on Wilder because of one person, Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart saw something in Wilder, and he saw something in Tyson Fury, and he predicted that both those guys was going to be champions. Now, I know a lot of people like to say that Wilder don't have no talent. He this, he that. He's only got the one hand. He may have gotten spoiled with that right hand, and how can you blame him, to be honest with you? You got 40-something fights and, almost all of them going to sleep. But Emmanuel Stewart saw enough of him to recognize that he was a future world champion. So I believe that the talent is still there. He just got to get focused and start doing things he don't want to do.
Yes.
And I also think that actually they're 1-1, if you ask me, because I believe like same thing you believe. He knocked Fury out that first fight.
Yes.
So I want to see that. Heavyweight wise, also want to see that fight between Anthony Joshua and our guy
Dylan?
Now I'm getting the brain freeze here. Deontay Wilder. I want to see that fight too.
Oh, you want to see Joshua
Wilder. They need to settle that. You know?
Yes.
But I also like to see Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. I like to see that fight too.
Mm-hmm. Now let's move on down to the next hottest division, the welterweights. My Jamaican brother, Errol Spence.
I need to say the welterweight. We got to see, first of all, right now, I want to see Porter and Bud Crawford.
Porter?
I want to see Porter and Bud Crawford.
Oh, man.
Before I see Spence fight, I want to see how Crawford handles Porter. And then I want to see him fight because, to be honest with you, Crawford ain't been fighting any real solid welterweights. And Spence has the advantage by fighting these solid welterweights. I would like to see how Crawford handled himself against Porter.
Okay.
And then I want to see that fight. But I'll tell you right now who I want to see versus anybody right now. And that's that boy, Jaron Ennis. I want to see Jaron Ennis versus anyone right now in the welterweight.
Jaron Boots Ennis.
Man, that guy is incredible.
Best welterweight on the planet.
He's incredible. You know, and I've seen the closest I've seen to him from Philly like that was actually his brother. I don't know what happened, but his brother was very promising, and I was a fan of his brother.
Oh, Pooh? Oh,
Pooh
my
was
God.
nice,
Fast hands.
Pooh was
I was
nice.
there when he beat Gabe Rosado in 2010 for the USBA title at 2300 Arena.
Wow. I missed that one, though. I think I missed that one.
Yes.
No, my
so Jaron Boots Ennis.
I used to love Jaron, man. That was my dude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Pooh was the man. His brother got it all.
Yes. I would like to see right now, I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I don't even want to see Pacquiao get destroyed by these guys. You know, I don't really want to even see Pacquiao fight anymore, to be honest with you. But I would like to see Porter versus Crawford and Spence versus Thurman first. And then the winner of those fights, which I think would be, well, I'm not even going to predict that Sean Porter fight because I ain't selling Sean Porter short, you know. So
you can't. You can't.
You know, but welterweight wise, the other guys right now.
We got Ugas, my Cuban brother.
Ugas, you know, it's
man.
Things to be seen, but he's a tough guy. That's not no walk in the park for anybody.
And he's crafty.
Yes, he's you know.
Let me go on record. He did beat Sean Porter. He got robbed, hoodwinked, bamboozled. Porter got dropped. They didn't call it a knockdown. Ugas won that fight.
You know,
he didn't get the decision, but he won the fight.
I'm gonna have to watch that fight again. I didn't see the entire fight. I will.
Now let's move down to the next hottest division.
Oh my goodness!
The lightweights.
Smoking on fire. Lightweight division is on fire.
Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Tank.
I love all those guys. All those guys.
Lomachenko.
Lomachenko. All those guys in that division, right? But the thing is, right now they need to fight. And I know what it is. They waiting for that crowd to come back because everybody don't want to take this short money, you know. But that lightweight division, I think, is a little bit more stacked than the welterweight. So are they about the same? Yeah. But those guys, those lightweight guys are actually going to be that next group of four. You know, like we had Duran, Leonard, Hearns, and Hagler. You talking about Ryan, tough cookie.
Tough kid, but he needs to learn some defense.
Yeah, he's a little limited. That's why I said tough cookie.
Don't rush him too much.
Nah, well, Oscar not gonna rush him. So, you know, they doing all that posturing, but Oscar not gonna, you know, rush him. He ain't rushing Canelo right now. Well, before Canelo left. But I think the one that right now, the one that will beat everybody, and it's two. I actually think it's a toss-up between Tank Davis and the Haney. You know, because I think they're the two out of that little elite group of young lightweights. I think those two, because I think people underestimate Tank Davis a little bit, his boxing ability. I don't know why, but He'll have a tough fight with Devin Haney. I don't really know who would win between those two, but out of that group, those two stand out a bit more. But Lopez is a beast too. You know, Lopez is a beast. You know, I'm not getting all excited about that Lomachenko win, because Lomachenko, as great as talent he was limited. Mm-hmm. And he was beatable versus the right opponent. Mm-hmm. And we saw that in his pro debut. He lost a fight, you know, and it was a certain type of fight that he just couldn't adapt to. And that was a guy with a jab, and it was moving, you know, and so all those tricks he had, you know, it didn't work. And Lopez put on a great performance, but it's not that I don't want to give credit to Lopez for that fight. It's just that I'm not sold because of that particular fight.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You
know, I see your point. I mean, people had Lomachenko as Jesus in boxing gloves. And, you know, the guy won 2 gold medals. And when you had that many amateur fights, you're a professional.
Exactly.
And very talented fighter. But I will say this again. At no point in my career would I have envisioned Floyd Mayweather losing to a fighter with only 16 fights.
No.
You get my point. Guy has 2 gold medals.
Exactly.
2 gold medals. How many? 400 amateur fights?
I don't know. I know he had a lot of them.
And you lose to a kid with 16 pro fights.
Yeah. You know.
I could never, ever see that happening to Floyd Mayweather, Roberto Duran,
never.
Tommy Hearns,
not no Tommy
Ray Leonard.
Not no Ray
I would
Leonard.
never see those great fighters losing to a kid with 16 pro fights.
Nah, I can't see it either. You know.
I'm saying Lomachenko is good, but he's just not Jesus with boxing gloves.
I wasn't sold on him. You know, I've seen that before, and I'm not saying he was a hype job, but I've seen when they put all that energy into certain fighters and they don't materialize. And then then you start ignoring other guys who are great talent also, but you're not giving them that opportunity. You know, and I just don't like stuff like that. But I respected his ability. I saw what it was. You know, he was just a great amateur, and as you know, those great amateurs, some of them they stay a long time. Like my man from Cuba, Stevenson.
Yes.
You know, he would have been a decent pro. I don't know how great he would have been as a pro, but he was stayed in there so long. He had so much experience. He was beating those young guys that was coming up trying to win those gold medals. You know, so he had the experience advantage over all of them. You know, I seen when he beat down Terrell Biggs. You know.
Oh man, and let's look at another Cuban, Guillermo Rigondeaux.
I love the guy.
He only stayed because he couldn't leave, and he won 2 gold medals. But by the time he got here, you know, he's 40 years old now, and he's the bantamweight champ.
Wow. He
moved down to bantamweight.
Wow. I didn't know that. He won the bantamweight championship.
You know, Rigondeaux, I told people this. When he fought at 122, I never thought he's tiny. I thought he should have fought at 115. But after he lost to Lomachenko, I think he had one more fight at 122.
Right.
Then he dropped down to bantamweight and won the title. He's a 40-year-old bantamweight champion, world champion.
Yeah, he's that Bernard Hopkins type guy, you know.
He claims he's 40.
Yeah, he claims he might be older than that. Huh? Hey, you know, I love Luis Ortiz too, man.
You know, King Kong?
I think he's older than what they say he is, but he's one of my favorites heavyweights.
What they claim? He's 42?
I don't know. I think they claim he's 30-something, man. I got a son,
no,
35
I think they claim 41 now. I think he's probably about 52.
I think so. Yeah, I got a son, 35 years old. I'm like, yeah.
He's not 42, man, but very talented fighter.
Yeah.
He had Wilder on 2 occasions, but once again, Wilder had the equalizer.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I can't wait for them to start everything to clear with this pandemic so we can start going to these fights again and with the crowd. The crowd is really makes the fights.
Now let me play a word game here. I'll throw out some names and you give me the first thing that comes to mind. Muhammad Ali.
The greatest.
Okay.
The greatest.
Jack Johnson.
Man, brave. Very brave.
Man. Jersey Joe Walcott.
Tricky. Tricky. Very tricky.
Sugar Ray Robinson.
Ray Robinson, a master.
Jack Dempsey.
Jack Dempsey, tough.
Oh, tough. Man. You got them. Willie Pep.
Willie Pep, I would go slippery.
Nah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Archie
slippery.
Moore.
He would be a magician.
Man.
Yeah, he would be like you know, that stuff he was doing. I didn't want to use the same term for another fighter. He would be definitely a magician.
Now I have to throw this one out here, or Uncle Russell Peltz would be angry with me. Bad Benny Briscoe.
You know, a steamroller. And I say that because I used to see him on the trash trucks years ago, and I used to look at this guy and say, man, this guy look like he just steamrolls cats, you know? Yeah.
You know, I met Benny. I had heard everything about him. I met him at 26 and Master, ABC Rec. He came to an amateur fight, and I went over to him, and you know, I shook his hand, man. I didn't want to wash the hand for a few weeks.
It was a legend.
I met Benny Briscoe.
Yes, and you know, I was like that too. I was in awe of, because we was living amongst celebrity. You know, they were celebrities to me. I was a boxing fan, so it's like cats that was a football fan. You run into, you know, whoever famous football player you like. I was running into famous fighters that I liked. You know, they was local, but they was famous to me. You know, and like guys like first fighters I ever started seeing in person in my neighborhood, Jimmy Young. You know, right after he fought Muhammad Ali, I was seeing Jimmy Young. He went out, he bought him a nice little sky blue, I think it was a Thunderbird, you know, or Continental, I think it was. And, you know, I see him in the neighborhood. You know, the Frasers was very accessible, but you knew they were famous. You saw them on TV. And shout out to my man, Marvis Frazier, man, one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet. Yes, yes.
And also the champ, Jackie Lyde Fraser.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. You know what? No doubt. Jackie is a beautiful person. Absolutely. Very down to earth, very humble. Great
fighter,
yeah,
great lawyer, great judge.
Yeah, absolutely.
College basketball player, has a black belt in karate. I mean, when you hear about Jackie Fraser's story, you just have to feel that you wasted your life. When I read about her and you hear all the accomplishments, it's like, man.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Love that family had. Absolutely. Yes. That family love they had for each other, man. That bond they had was incredible. It was
incredible. The Frasers, man.
They love their dad, man. They love their dad.
Yeah. Well, we have about 2 minutes left. Luther Deas Chiles, what do you want to say about your brother, man? Since we dedicated this video.
You know, it ain't too much I want to say because I'm still feeling this here, man. But just tell my brother, man, I love you. I'm going to miss you. You fought a hard fight, man. You was a true champion. Yes. You know, and we're all going to miss you, brother.
And you got to send us some pictures of Darnell, man, so we can put it at the end of the video. But we just want to dedicate it to Darnell. Like you said, he fought hard, man. He was a big boxing fan. Yes. I know Darnell is up there with Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Finding out how Jack had so much courage.
Yeah, he probably getting on Jack nerves right about now. Hey, yo, man, I want to say something, man. I don't know, because I follow these cats on YouTube, man, and they've been really holding boxing down, especially with this new media been holding boxing down. And we got 2 minutes left. I want to send a shout out to the LDBC, the Lions Den boxing community.
Okay.
Yes, sir. With my man, Black Fight Fan.
Okay.
Barbershop Conversation. Young brother Aki. Dante's Boxing Nation. The other cat, my man Boxing Ego. Back to LDBC, my man Blue Blood. And if I forgot anybody else, man, I wrote some of it down. But those cats been holding it up, man, and making the media be accountable for some of that nonsense, the misinformation they put out there. And of course, yours truly, George Hanson Jr., I'm sorry, and you do a great job, and you and your partner there, Chris Tony, do a great job at, keeping everybody up to date and what's going on with this boxing world, man. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Luther. And I see we have a minute left, man. It's a pleasure. There you have it, fans. 2018 Philadelphia Boxing Fan of the Year, Luther Deas Chiles. I forgot to tell people this man, you know, we got that West Indian connection as
right,
fathers
right.
and grandfathers from Cuba. So Luther
right.
Deas, Chiles, thank you. It was a pleasure having you. Continue to watch Boxing 396.
My brother, be safe.
Take care.
All right, all right.
Right.